mean, you had your chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Live from Rock Solid Studios in Granite Falls, it's time for MinneZona Sports, live with DJ Matty C and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back for another show. Yes, claps all around, zoners, yes. It has been a tough week. But without further ado, I am your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Callahan, a.k.a. Callie, a.k.a. Matty C, etc., etc., etc. And as always, from Woods and Shores Studios in Aiken, Minnesota, Paul Volt, the Shield. What's going on, Shield?
It has been a rough week. It's only Wednesday, but I don't know how we're going to get through the rest of the week with all the stuff that's been going on in the last couple of days. But we're here. We're here to vent. We're here to rant. Looking forward to a great show tonight, as always.
Exactly, Voldy. And you know what's kind of nice? We're going to start off a little bit on a positive note because our Facebook likes, we're at 390. We're at 390. So I plead to all the zoners that are tuning into this right now and later, because, you know, we got some people that tune in later. We are so close to that 400. I think we can get 10 more likes. And who knows? We could probably get it by the end of the show. I don't know. This could...
Fingers crossed.
We have options, as the Kerf Doctor likes to say. And, yeah, so I would encourage the zoners, if you got friends that like sports and want to check us out, send them an invite. Let's avoid Minnesota Twins talk. Oh, we're not avoiding that,
chance,
Joe.
No chance.
Sorry,
That's
Joe. We're not avoiding that today.
We are locking it down here with the Twins talk.
We are letting you guys vent, and I want to hear you guys. I'm going to vent. Voldy's going to vent. Oh, we got a lot to talk about with that because that is our first. You know, it's this specific scene. It's called Tater Top. Hot take.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
Okay, Voldy. The thing is that I don't know if we're going to get to our other Tater Tot Hot Take tonight.
I don't think we can.
I don't know. I don't think we can. I really don't think we can. This is going to be controversial. And, again, it has to be at this point. It has to be. So I got to ask you this. And, you know, the zoners, please, vent. Let us know what you think about this whole Twins thing. In the lower third, it says the cheapers versus the cheaters. So the thing is that in this instance, Astros didn't cheat at all. They just flat out beat the Twins, which is just insane to think about. And I don't know. Voldy, do you want me to go first, or would you like to go first with this?
You know what? I say they always save the best for last year, so I think I'm going to take the lead off here on this one because that's pretty much the only thing that the Twins could have done right was try to put together some sort of lineup. As soon as you saw right off the bat, game number one glaring person missing, not even on the lineup itself, but the entire roster as well. Josh Donaldson was missing from the entire lineup. Said he was still hurting with that leg, lower body, whatever. This is the playoffs. I don't care if you got one leg, one arm, and half a brain. You get your butt out there and you play. That is the mentality that you need to have with when it comes to playing in the postseason. Any other sport, especially in like the Stanley Cup playoffs. Guys are literally playing with broken legs, fractured spines, and they're still going out there playing a whole 60 minutes of hockey and end up missing 3-4 months the next year because of the fact that, they gave it all. They won a championship. That's the thing that drove me nuts. No Josh Donaldson in the lineup. And on the team as well overall, the bullpen situation as well, games 1 and 2, which thought was going to be a focal point for the Twins, at least for the consistency part of everything. Towards the tail end of the year, the bullpen was pretty sketchy to say the least. But it just didn't work out. Taylor Rogers is hot garbage, and the fact that Rocco Baldelli even thought about throwing him out there, not only let alone, at the end of the regular season, but today as well, gave up a couple of runs, a couple questionable calls in game number 1. I wasn't able to watch game number 1. I watched pretty much the last 3 or 4 innings of game 2 when everything started to fall off on the wheels. It just was hard to, it's just as typical as it gets. Twins get the early lead. They're feeling good, The other team scores, run, ties it up. Okay. Twins got the benefit of being the home team. It's going to be their last at bat. Still can't do anything with it. Nelson Cruz was the only one getting any hits, and he ended up with like 2 doubles out of 2 games and, a couple plate appearances. And there's just so much wrong with the fact that the Twins don't have those guys in the lineup. And we were talking about this before we got on the show. The Twins don't have any players with enough hate in them. They need a whole lineup and a whole team of Josh Donaldsons. Guys that are out there going out and gaming. Guys that have attitude. They've got that swagger with them, full of hate. They need guys out there. They're going to go out there, shove it down your throat, not apologize for it, and go out there and win a championship. This whole nice guy mentality in Major League Baseball and also for the Minnesota Twins, that has got to be dead and buried as soon as Joe Mauer left. All that stuff needs to come to an end. You need that fight. You need that grit. You need that ire. You need that hate, because that is what gets you through a full postseason. Case in point with the Houston Astros, Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa, Alex Bregman. Those guys are huge. Those guys are just full of hate. They know the fact that they did something, and they still won a World Series, played in the last 3 ALS American League championships, been to the World Series 2 out of the last 3 years. That's what it's all about. But getting back to the Twins overall, the one big question mark I have, what was wrong with Barrios? The fact that Rocco decided to pull him out in like the 4th or 5th inning. That's when we knew that the Twins were in trouble. As soon as they pulled him, he was cruising along pretty well. Had a couple questionable innings early on, but, he was going. He was starting to feel like that Barrios that should have been from game number 1 of pitch number 1 this whole season, and they pulled the plug on him early. Didn't work out. Twins go down for the 18th consecutive postseason game, not only a major league record, but also of the 4 major sports in North America. As Minnesota as it gets, as they always say, there's always next year. That's what I got to say about that.
There's always next year. I think we've been saying there's always next year since, what was it, 1991 when the Twins won the World Series, which, again, winning 2 World Series, that's good. Okay, Voldy. First of all, I agree with everything that you said, and I think the zoners would as well. It's frustrating. It really is frustrating. And the fact of the matter is that I made a tweet yesterday, and obviously it's the Jim Pohlad as a clown, and because this was a clown show. This was a clown show. If you thought the debates were bad, the Twins, I think, might have been even worse. Who knows? Here's the thing. This was nothing short of a disaster. And the reason why it was nothing short of a disaster is because this team was supposed to make a run here in the playoffs. And the thing is, I always talk about pitching. Yes, there were some pitching issues, but it wasn't the main reason. And I want to clarify that right now, okay? That wasn't the main reason. The main reason was they couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, for one. Also, to Rocco Baldelli. I mean, why wouldn't you let Jose Barrios go one more inning? He was doing great. He was doing really good until all of a sudden Baldelli's like, no, we're going to go with our bullpen. When they go to the bullpen, I immediately think if it's not Romo, if it's not Trevor May, we're in trouble. And the thing is that that's the issue, Voldy, is there's so much that they're talking about with I mean, I'm sorry, Rocco Baldelli, I think he's really hasn't done a great job, and especially with Buxton. I mean, for gosh sakes, one of our zoners even mentioned it here too. Buxton getting picked off at first. What in the hell are you doing? I mean, seriously.
I don't know.
What is going on? And then, obviously, the third base coach, I'm not sure what his name is. I know it was brought up before. But why are you sending Luis Ariz to try and get the lead? You got too gosh darn greedy. Why did you do that? I mean, it is baffling to me why he was letting Ariz go. It's like, well, you know, you got to take a chance in the playoffs. Yes, I understand that. But there were 2 outs. There was 2 outs. And so then all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, at least we have the game tied. I mean, it's just pure stupidity. It's pure stupidity with this team right now. And I can't believe what I was seeing. I honestly couldn't believe what I was seeing. And another thing, too, Voldy, you brought this up briefly. The bullpen was, and I quote, trash. Trash
Garbage.
can right here. Trash. And the reason why is because Rodgers was awful. What in the world happened to Taylor Rodgers?
Has been awful.
And he has been awful. He has been awful. And he played so bad. And especially when the Twins, you know, were actually tied up, and then when they, you know, Astros got a little bit of a lead, and then he comes in and just screws everything up. Like, what happened? It's almost like, this is almost equivalent to when Xavier Rhodes was, like, really good, and then all of a sudden Xavier just sucked. Absolutely sucked. This is like Taylor Rodgers in baseball. I mean, this is crazy. And the fact of the matter is that was the bullpen wasn't the issue, too. Okay? We can't avoid. That is not the main reason. Because in the 2 games the Twins they had a batting average in 2 games of 119. 119. That is awful. Absolutely terrible. And I want to get to our zoners. Joe says, don't forget Romo walked in leading a run in back-to-back games. Exactly. He walked in the leading run. That was going to be my next point too. So Joe, I appreciate it. Thank you. But I mean, it is just mind-blowing to me. It's mind-blowing to me. They couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. I said this before. I mean, what the hell happened to the Bomba Squad? I mean, instead of the Bomba Squad, it was the choke job for the Twins. It was the Heimlich maneuver, you know, and it was just so bad. I mean, what is going on? This is supposed to be the Bomba Squad. We're supposed to be beating these guys. This was, and I will say, a sub 500 team. Okay? Yes, we understand what happened in the offseason, but we were supposed to destroy this team. And honestly, I don't think the Twins could even beat any team for that instance, Voldy. I mean, they couldn't beat any team. I bet if they played the Tigers, they'd probably lose too. And then the Kerf Doctor chiming in here too. Twins playoff drought worse than the Gopher football in Wisconsin. That's true too. I mean, there's so many good points, and the zoners it's so dumb. It's the way that they played, and I'm sorry, but if you have lost that many games in the playoffs and haven't won one playoff game since, 2004 or something like that?
2004. Yep.
What are you doing? It's ridiculous. And then Obviously, the main issue was the hitting. Okay, I want to say that too, okay? Because I know some people saw my tweet about that and said, this is why you invest in pitching. You still should. You still should. I'm going to get to that. But the hitting was the issue. 119 batting average in 2 games. Oh my God, that is awful. That is so bad. And the thing is people had such high expectations for you, and what do? You crap the bed. You know, obviously I'm not going to throw the S word out because this is a PG show with a sprinkle of 13, but we're going to keep it light. But the fact of the matter is that they couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Okay, the next thing I want to bring up too, I brought up a lot. They were the better team. Voldy, they were the better team. And the fact that you lose to the Astros, yes, the Astros do have some talent. I'm not saying they don't. But this, you were at home. I don't care if there were, I don't care that there were no fans. You guys were really good at home. And you lost 2 straight to these guys. It's like, it is mind-boggling to me how bad they played. And how, I mean, this, honestly, I'm going to say this right now. They're a regular season team. They're a regular season team right now. And if that,
like all Minnesota sports teams, really great in the regular season, god awful in the postseason. And I will say this, at the end of the day, experience beat out talent, because at least half a dozen guys in the starting lineup have played at least 50 games in the postseason. That's 5-0 games in the last 4 or 5 years for the Astros. And that's amazing within itself, because you say a decade ago that the Houston Astros were going to be putting up great numbers and become, World Series champion, being the World Series 2 out of 3 years and the American League Championship 10 years ago, people would have laughed you out of the building.
Yeah.
The Astros were the laughing stock of Major League Baseball. And, well, like we've been talking about, I mean, the Twins are a regular season team, like all Minnesota sports. Really good in the regular season, underwhelming in the postseason, and it shows. I just don't know. I've been saying this all day. Who has to die for a Minnesota sports franchise in the major 4 sports, besides the Minnesota Lynx, who have done really well in the last decade, for the Vikings, the Twins, the Timberwolves, or the Wild to win a championship? Someone's got to go, because at this point, I feel like 99.9% of Minnesota sports fans would say that person's got to die in order for this to happen. That 0.01%, probably that one person that's got to go. I'm just saying, something's got to give. It's embarrassing, but sooner or later you would think things would line up. But this is the way that it is. This is 2020 within a nutshell.
It is, and it's sad. It really is sad. And the last thing I'm going to bring up here, because I think this needs to be addressed too, because this is something that I've been holding back for a while now, because it frustrates the hell out of me, and it frustrates the hell out of Twins fans. The last reason why the Twins lost is because of the damn Pohlads. It's the Pohlads too, okay? Because how many times have we said you need to go out and get elite pitching and spend money, but they never want to do it because they're the Pohlads, because they're cheap. They're cheap. And the thing is why it's like, well, they're not the sole reason why. Yes, they're not the sole reason why the Twins lost the series. I understand that. But the issue is that they never will say, here's enough money to go get some guys. They won't go out of their pocket. Well, I mean, don't you guys want to win? I mean, who wouldn't want to win? You guys own the damn team. What's going on? I mean, basically, you're telling Twins fans right now that you don't care. It's like, well, as long as they make the playoffs, it's okay. No, BS. BS. And the thing is the reason why I still have that clown thing, no salary cap in the MLB, Pohlads. Spend money. Just do it.
To make money.
Prove us wrong. Prove me wrong. Instead, here's what I'm going to do. Because since they don't want to do that, and yes, I understand Donaldson got, he got paid. That was one thing. But here's the thing.
And then they didn't even use him.
Yeah.
They paid him and didn't even use him. That's why they brought him in.
Exactly. And the thing is A wise man once said, I used to be an intern at this place. He said, good defense and good pitching beats out good hitting any day. Shout out to the common man. For now, this is what I'm going to do. See this trash bin? See this Twins hat? Right now, they played like trash. Trash right here, zoners. Trash. Absolute trash. And honestly, I am baffled by this. Rocco Baldelli, people are calling for his head right now. Honestly, he couldn't have made this worse. He honestly did a terrible job in how he handled both games. And again, here's the moral of the story. Twins, you got to figure out something in the offseason, because here's the thing. If the Pohlads don't go out and spend money, and if the thing is, if you start losing guys left and right, Kirilloff was kind of a bright spot. I like Kirilloff, okay? But the question still remains, go out and trade. Do anything you can to go out and get elite pitching. Do it! Because if this doesn't happen, people are going to lose interest in this team. Not saying they will never. The Pohlads are the ones that got a tie win a chance. Yeah, we're not going to go too far with that.
We're not going to start naming names,
right.
But we get it was a rhetorical question, but we appreciate it, Easy A.
Yeah. We Easy A just.
Hey, thanks for the fantasy win, by the way, this week, Easy A. Appreciate you.
The keepers, baby. But the fact of the matter is that they don't know what they're doing half the time with it. And the Pohlads, I'm challenging them. Please, for the love of God, in the offseason, go out and spend money for elite pitching. Trade for anybody. I don't care. Maeda was fantastic. Okay, Barrios actually played well, Voldy, and you were very critical of Barrios.
I was.
You were.
But I held my breath this start, but he did really well. I was very surprised by it.
He should have got one more inning. He should have gone one more inning. And that is the one thing that peeves me the most.
I don't know if he got injured or something, because I was listening to the radio broadcast of it, and it sounded like maybe Barrios and Baldelli were looking at maybe his hand or something. Maybe he got a blister or something like that. I don't know. One more inning would have done the trick.
Yeah.
And the Twins didn't play like this was their last game.
No.
You go into the postseason, you got to play like each game is your last game. I don't care if it's a single game wild card. I don't care if it's game one of a 7-game series. You need to go out there and give it your all for that one game, because that's what you have to do. You have to play one game at a time, and then next thing you know, you keep playing that and you keep winning. Next thing you know, you've won a World Series. It's just this is our last game. I didn't see any of that, or in game one. They should have had that mentality going into it, because the Twins have gotten used to the fact that they're going to play in the wild card game. Thankfully, it wasn't the Yankees this year, because they would have gotten their tails reared in by. I mean, the Yankees took down Shane Bieber, who won the pitching Triple Crown this year for the Indians, and just roughed him up significantly. So thank God the Twins didn't play the Yankees this year. Still the same sentiment. They didn't go out there and act like this was their last game, and they just took another one on the chin, and so be it. We're on to next year.
And that's sad. It really is sad. And honestly, there's a multitude of issues with this team. And I don't care if you keep putting it off. They have issues. And when you have a team like this that is very good, there are very good players on this team. I mean, I hate to throw Kep under the bus, but Kepler, come on, we need those big hits, man. We love Keps. Double trouble, I'm sorry, but where was Keps in these 2 games? I'm sorry. I mean, those guys need to step up. Buxton, I don't know what he was thinking. Obviously, he was feeling the side effects of when he hit into the wall or got hit by a pitch or got hit into the wall, things like that. So, no, guys like that, I mean, Donaldson, we need you to be healthy, bud. I mean, they have to go out and get Maeda. We're fine with Maeda right now. Barrios definitely played a little bit better, but you got to get a top guy. You have to, because if you don't, this is what the outcome's going to be. And you're not going to win a postseason game. And then, obviously there's going to be a lot of this. Twins hats in a garbage can. So
the division's not getting any easier. The White Sox are on the up and up. Kansas City is in a rebuilding stage right now, but they've got some young arms coming up. Detroit in the last couple of years has been rebuilding, but this isn't the same old Detroit team that's been roughed up the last few years. They're on the way. Cleveland as well has kind of found a resurgence, but I just don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough year.
Joe, no pitcher with common sense will sign here. No way. Well, if someone opened their pocketbooks, which I hope will happen with enough push, but there's no guarantees of that. So
someone will buy the bullet for $300 million. I tell you that right now.
Oh yeah. Oh, they would, 100%. So anyway, I think for now, Zoners, please chime in. We'll still kind of give our thoughts if you guys want to chime in with what you think with the Twins and whatnot. But for now, briefly, Voldy, I want to get to this because obviously the Vikings played this past week.
Yep.
Winless purple is the lower third here, and it was. And I'll just we're going to go really quick with it because we want to get to the North Remembers, which we're going to get into. Favre de Lewis, one of the best moments ever. So we're going to get to that, but we're very briefly, Vikings lose. Voldy, you picked them. The Vikings lose. I picked the Vikings to lose, but there's one bright spot, and I think I'm wearing his jersey right now.
Yes, sir.
Justin Jefferson, release Justin Jefferson. Let's go. He had a great game. But again, the Vikings fall to the Titans, which I thought, again, there are a lot of factors into that. We won't get into deep analysis, but Voldy, briefly give me your thoughts of the game last Sunday.
Just to go on par with how things have gone this past week with Minnesota sports, the one stat that I'm sure you want to allude to as well, the Vikings are the first team in NFL history where they had one player with 175 yards rushing and another player with 175 yards receiving in the same game ever. And the Vikings still found a way to lose the game. That's all I've got to say. Compared to the last 2 weeks, this was an improvement. Defense was able to get some field goals off the field. A couple big plays down the field really bit them in the rear end. But at the end of the day, the Vikings are still 0-3.
Yeah, and obviously, the defense has got to work out the kinks. They got to work out the kinks. And obviously, I think there's a lot of people that are pretty pissed off at Zimmer. And the thing is that there's a lot of young guys. And, obviously, they're going to go through growing pains. We didn't think it would be this bad. But, again, offense, Kirk played better. But the guard play, I'm telling you right now, the guard play, Voldy, has been awful. Absolutely terrible with the guard play. Samia has been bad. Dozier's been bad. Rick Dennison, come on. Figure it out. Helped out this team. I mean, the reason why we've lost these games is because of the guard play. Because guys are getting right through. I mean, Joe Bag of Donuts could get right through, like you say, Voldy. But, again, the Vikings are going up against the Texans. Obviously, with the COVID situation, it seems like they're going to play as scheduled. So, hopefully, let's keep our fingers crossed for more negative tests, obviously. It sounds kind of weird, but we don't want COVID positive tests. We want COVID negative tests. So, but yeah, you'll get our picks later on. So we'll get to that later on. But obviously, Vikes 0-3, things got to get rolling here or else they're in big trouble. So anyway, Zoners, it is time. We're going to get to a little bit of a positive subject because 11 years ago, I think it was on Sunday, I believe, the Minnesota Vikings were taking on the San Francisco 49ers, and we had one Brett Favre, leading the Vikings to victory. And we're going to get to it right now because it's time for the North Remembers.
These are the moments enshrined in Minnesota sports history. The North remembers.
All right, Voldy, so this is the North remembers. Voldy, you have a very, very fond memory of that game. I believe you were with one named Jimbo Vold, right?
Oh, yeah.
So why don't you
Absolutely, yeah.
Why don't you give us your story on that game and entice the zoners and show them, hey, this was one of the best games of all time.
Yeah, I mean, at the point, Sundays in the fall, going to Vikings games with Jimbo when he still had Vikings tickets. It was a great time. At that point, Vikings 2-0, San Francisco 2-0. It was a pretty good game. Back and forth all the way down, and thinking in true Minnesota fashion, waiting for the other shoe to drop and to lose the game against, Sean Hill and the San Francisco 49ers at that point.
Yeah.
Boy, there's a blast from the past on that one. Remember when he was supposed to be the starting quarterback for the Vikings?
Oh, yeah.
Yikes. Those were a rough couple of weeks overall. But that moment as well, the touchdown pass to Greg Lewis, back of the end zone, toe touch. We're sitting in the lower bowl. We're pretty close to the top of the lower bowl. And right before, as the 2-minute warning goes off, there's guys in our row already leaving. And, the Vikings were driving at that point. And Dad goes to a couple of the guys that he's, seen for years that had the same tickets. Hey, you guys are going to have to buy next week when the Vikings come back and win. They're like, oh, okay. They keep going. They walk all the way out. And they did it. They won the game. One of the coolest moments ever. First off, you didn't even know who caught the ball in the first place. Who's 17? Who's this guy? It's like, wait a second. That's the guy that they picked up from the Patriots the week before. Greg Lewis, and he gets the touchdown. Holy crap. That was awesome. Still one of the coolest moments that I remember going to, I've going to Vikings games, especially with Jimbo and, taking in all that atmosphere and also, just a great moment to remember from that year.
Absolutely. And, you brought up about that year. That was one of the most fun Viking seasons I've probably seen in my lifetime because that team was so good. The offensive line was just almost like Big Phil Lodeholt, John Sullivan. I think, guys like that, that offensive line was so good. Favre was fantastic. But the 49ers, they started, that was before the Harbaugh-led 49ers. And that was, I think, Mike Singletary, I believe, right. That was coaching the team. So, again.
Might have been, yeah.
Yeah. And, against Sean Hill and things like that, it's like, they should be killing these guys. So, but my memory, and obviously the zoners can chime in too. I'm sure you guys remember this game very well. I usually watch the game, with the Papa Callahan and Mama Callahan and my younger sister and obviously, my older sister as well. And I remember watching that game thinking to myself, I'm like, we should be killing this team. But honestly, they weren't that bad. They were a good team.
They weren't.
49ers were a good team. So, but the thing is that the Vikings spent all that time trying to get Brett Favre. And they succeeded. They absolutely succeeded with Brett. And Brett did a really good job of not getting flustered too much. And he made something out of nothing. He rolled out, he got by people, and he just kind of threw up a prayer. And the thing is when I didn't even know who the heck 17 was at the time. I was like,
Nobody did.
Like you were saying too. Like I was the same reaction. I was at home and I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? And I was jumping around and obviously like that. It wasn't as crazy as the Stephon Diggs Minneapolis Miracle, which again we'll get to that, but we're gonna save that for a special show because I think that's a special moment. This was even a special moment because this is when I was like, man, things are gonna go really well for the team, and they did. Okay, obviously the end result is not something we want.
For the most part.
We're not going down that route. Because
Not yet.
we're going to save that. But, Voldy, I'm looking at Favre's stats right here. He was 24-46, 301 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he threw his first pick of the season. Okay, even though obviously Brett didn't throw that many interceptions that season. I believe it was only 7. But obviously, you go against the Aints and, all hell breaks loose. But Brett Favre literally showed he can still play. And we had enough players to show, hey, look, I mean, we can do this. Jared Allen, Ray Edwards, the Williams Wall, Ben Lieber, Chad Greenway, E.J. Henderson, Cedric Griffin. I mean, the list goes on. That was a really, really good defense. And that's what Brett needed. And he had so many weapons. Sidney Rice, Percy Harvin, and obviously the only catch I think Greg Lewis ever had with the Vikings. It was a touchdown, which is fantastic. We love Greg Lewis. Obviously, I know he played for the Patriots a little bit, Voldy, so... But, yeah, just kind of thinking of that, it was a great moment. And obviously, Brett Favre in purple was kind of weird, but honestly, I think Brett was probably one of the best quarterbacks in Viking history. Not saying he was the best, but he was one of the best Viking quarterbacks in Vikings history. But, yeah, that's kind of I just remember I was like, man, this team's going to be special. And they were special. I thought they were going to get to the promised land, but, that's how it is. And... you were at the game, so I'm sure it was deafening
Loud.
in the
Yes,
in
it
the
was.
dome and the Metrodome. Obviously, it's a great place nonetheless. But Brett throwing that touchdown, unbelievable. But one other thing I want to bring up too is Paul Allen's call of that is just, legendary, absolutely
Chills
legendary.
every
it gives
time.
you chills, exactly. So PA did a great job. As always, he's the voice of the Vikings and, stamp of approval, obviously, with how he called that. I mean, it was, you'll never forget something like that. You'll never forget it. And, that's etched in Minnesota Vikings history. So, Zoners, again, too, chime in what your thoughts of the game were. And obviously the 2009 season was fun. And, Mike Singletary was a character back then, too. So I think he said after the game, he said, we'll see him in the playoffs or something like that. Well, where were you?
Yeah, sure.
Where were you?
Okay, pal.
Yeah, so, it is such a fun game, such a fun season. But 11 years ago, Voldy, 11 years ago this happened. Okay?
Children. That's when we were children.
I'm old. It's Greg Lewis, touchdown. Yes, exactly, Joe. Stamp of approval with that as well. Oh my gosh. It doesn't get any better than that. It really doesn't get any better than that. So, but anyway, I think that will do it for the North Remembers because, we got to get to everybody's favorite segment. My favorite segment, Voldy, your favorite segment. Curve Doctor's favorite. Oh, no, he left. I forgot. But yeah, it's his favorite segment too. The Zoner's favorite segment. It's time for Upset or Approve.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
First of all, shout out to Daniel Halverson. My dogs, we appreciate it. Daniel, he's a great dude. Maybe we have him on the show sometime.
Yeah, that's my guy.
Yeah, we
I was
love
hoping he was
Daniel
going to show
Halverson,
up
yeah.
since he's a Minnesota sports hater, apparently.
He is. But, obviously,
That's all right, though.
that's fine. And that's fine. We love Minnesota sports. Yes, we've been heartbroken so many times. We have, low expectations, high aspirations. But again, it is what it is. So, but anyway, Voldy, let's get to Absurd or Approved. So why don't you rattle them off for us, please?
Well, to keep in tune with the fact that Minnesota sports has no idea what they're doing day to day, let's go to the NBA. So it was announced back that some time ago that the Minnesota Timberwolves get the number 1 overall draft pick, and reports coming out from the Bleacher Report saying that the Minnesota Timberwolves have no idea what they want to do with the number 1 pick. Do they want to keep it, or do they want to trade the number 1 pick pick to try and maybe get something a little bit better that comes in the terms of LaMelo Ball over the, Anthony Edwards or something along those lines. It just speaks to the fact that Minnesota Timberwolves, again, have no idea what they're doing, and too much of a good thing is a bad thing, apparently, for Minnesota sports. Looking here at some of the reports as well, of course, with the fact that there's really no consensus overall number one pick. You got three guys, they all could go number one, basically. And what the Timberwolves are trying to do, they've got Cap, they've got, D'Angelo Russell as well. They've got some guys that they could definitely move on with as well to try to package together to bring in a big trade. Is it absurd or approved what the Timberwolves don't know what they're doing with that number one overall pick?
Well, I mean, honestly, if you don't know what you're going to do with that number one pick, and obviously you have time, I understand that you have time, but you should know by now. I mean, it's going to be a hard pick. There are some good players that are in. I mean, LaMelo obviously is a good player, but whoever they draft, and then Joe's saying right, whoever they draft, the very next pick will be a Hall of Famer. Exactly, because that's just our luck. That's just our luck. But it's absurd. I mean, why would you leak this and say, well, we don't know what we're going to do? It's like, well, I understand it from that perspective, but if you want to throw people off your scent too, I get that. But I believe in Rosas. And the reason why I believe in Garrison Rosas is because they're going to do everything that they can to find the right guy for this team, okay? Because obviously he's made some good moves, and we don't need to go way back and talk about the whole Jimmy Butler deal. I have opinions about that, big time. But it's kind of one of these things where, I think they're kind of trying to play mind games with the other teams and things like that. And if it works, great. But at the same time, too, I mean, if they're like legitimate and these sources are, right on point with it, I don't know. So, I mean, it's never something where I'm like, it's a bad idea to do it. I just think it's absurd because if they, if they're trying to get teams off their scent, then, I mean, obviously you have the number one pick. Are you going to trade? Are you going to get more picks? Are you going to pick LaMelo? Are you going to pick Edwards? Are you going to pick, guys like that? So, I mean, I don't know. I just think, they're trying to play some mind games, but if they really don't know, it's absurd. So, Voldy, what do you think?
I mean, this is just on par with everything going on with the Timberwolves. Like you've been talking about with Garrison Rosas. Again, this is going to be like one of his first true full off seasons to really build this team as well. Came into the Timberwolves, had to clean house basically. Lands D'Angelo Russell. In the handful of games that we got out of D'Lo, it looked fairly promising. The draft is expecting to be held on November 18th. So from right now to November 18th, basically 6 weeks. You've got a little over 6 weeks to figure out what you want to do with that number one pick. And, reading by the reports here from Jonathan Wasserman of the Bleacher Report, it doesn't surprise me that the Timberwolves aren't leaning towards one person because of the fact, if it was Zion Williamson, as the top prospect, that'd be a no-brainer. The Timberwolves would already be figuring out, okay, how long of a contract can we get this guy before we can actually draft him? I don't know. This is basketball. I'm out of my realm. Timberwolves number one overall pick. I just want to see how bad they can screw the pooch on this one because as long as they are still in existence in the first place, it's not going to get much better. And if they do find a way to get better, I will be the first one to admit that I was wrong. I will go on record saying that right here and right now. Is it absurd that the Timberwolves don't know what they're doing? Absolutely not. I think it's approved that they don't know what they're doing because it's the Timberwolves. They've been dysfunctional since at least 2004. So that's my feelings on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those things where, it's the Wolves. We all understand that. But, for some reason, we keep coming back. Wolves fans keep coming back. It's like, well, what are they going to do to let us down this time? But still, I mean, you want to be excited that they can do it. And he goes, is it absurd? Yes. Am I surprised by the Wolves, by the Timberwolves? No. As our creative consultant is saying right now on our live feed. But, hey, yeah, I don't know. It's the Wolves,
She's
man.
supposed to be working right now. What is she doing?
Hey, she can do whatever she
Tisk,
wants.
tisk.
She
can do whatever she wants. She's pregnant. It's fine.
Yeah, that's true. All right, next one, Volpe.
Sticking with the NBA here for just a second. The NBA Finals have been set. Yes, we're still talking about basketball, back-to-back absurd or approved stories. Maybe the first time ever that's happened. The matchup have been set down in the bubble. It's the Miami Heat, led by old Jimmy Buckets himself, versus LeBron and the Lake Show. Los Angeles Lakers versus the Miami Heat. Game number 1, I believe, is either tonight or tomorrow, next week. I don't know. Oh, it's tonight. Starts at 8 o'clock, so we're about 15 minutes away from tip. There we go. You learn something new each and every day. So, absurd or approved, who do you got for the NBA Finals? Who's going to win it all?
Lakers in 5. And the reason why I say that is because everybody knows my stance on Jimmy Butler. Everyone knows my stance. And the thing is I'm going to go on record to say I've been very impressed by what he has done with the Miami Heat. Okay, obviously, the way that he does things, and I'm starting to understand it a little bit better now, which, again, but there's no, I mean, the way he handled himself with the Wolves, I think, is absurd, obviously. But the Lakers, I think, are the better team. And, Dan, Lakers in 5. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. I'm just saying, man.
Absolutely.
Lakers in 5. And the reason why I'm saying that is because LeBron, AD, they're going to, LeBron is dead set on getting that 4th title. And I think he's going to get there. The thing is again, I understand the fact that people, well, you're just saying that because you don't like Jimmy. I'm like, well, no, they're a younger team, okay? They haven't experienced being in the finals, but I can be proven wrong. And the Heat have proven me wrong, this so far here in the playoffs here. And LeBron, Rajon Rondo, you got guys like Kyle Kuzma. JaVale McGee, they've set up a good team. And if you have LeBron at the helm, I think he's going to be able to get it done. According to ESPN, it's Lakers in 2. Oh, can we agree that TH is a walking bucket? TH is a walking bucket with swag, though. Yeah, he is. He's true. It's true.
It's true.
But it's one of those things where they have, I feel like they have more. Yeah, Tyler Hero has been fantastic. He's a walking he has been fantastic. He's been shooting from 3-point range. He's been making plays. He has been fantastic. Bam Adebayo has been fantastic as well. But I think you got to shut down. I don't think anybody can shut down AD. I really don't. So, yeah, I got to go with the Lakers. I think they're going to win. Lakers in 5. And I think the Heat will get a win in there, but I think LeBron's going to will them to another finals. And, I honestly think, too, he's good. That whole team's going to dedicate, if they win, they're going to dedicate it to Kobe. So it's going to be great. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be so much fun. So, Voldy, who do you got?
Oh, come on. This isn't even a real question. It's got to be the Lakers. It's written in the stars. And if you could look up at the stars, it'd be in the shape of the Mamba logo. This is the Lakers to win. This is the Lakers to lose. The only way that it happens is that Anthony Davis and, LeBron James drop dead tomorrow. Drop dead 5 minutes before tip-off of game 1, and Jimmy Butler plays out of his mind to get Miami another title as well. Obviously, I'm going to go Lakers as well. The general consensus is Lakers in 5. I think so as well. I think if anything, Miami's going to sneak out with one. It may be that Hero comes up with a big shot at the end of the game. But again, LeBron is laser focused in on this. He knows what needs to get done. And, the added fact that it's going up against one of his forward teams to get that forward title with 3 different teams, that's certainly something that isn't accomplished all that much, especially the fact with such a high caliber player in LeBron James. I think it's got to be the Lakers in 5 in my mind.
Yeah, Lakers in 5. And, the one thing I want to bring up is the Heat have done very well. And obviously there's stuff that says screw the Lakers. Well, I say screw Jimmy Butler. No. Anyway, Jimmy's done a really good job. And obviously I have my opinions on Jimmy. But I think that type of culture within the Heat has, suited him well. And they've, played to his strengths. And they had guys that want to go in there and win. And obviously the Wolves didn't really have that with Jimmy. But obviously I want to go on the record to say, too, is that Jimmy Butler's got to explain what happened. He has to, because I'm sick of all this hiding around. Just say it.
Absolutely.
Just say it. Just tell us what happened. Maybe I'll change my opinion what you were thinking.
Let's sit down. Let's open a bottle of wine. Let's listen to some country music. Let's get out on the boat. Maybe do some fishing. Yeah. Let's just talk it out. Let's be gentlemen about this because we're far enough removed from it. Let's just talk it out. Let's just hash things out. Cooler heads will prevail, and hopefully we can at least get a halfway decent explanation. So
right.
That's what we all want.
That's all I ask. That is all I ask.
Absolutely.
So we'll see what happens. But still, my mind hasn't changed on Jimmy for 1 second. So anyway, next one, Voldy.
Yeah, we go to the NFL. A little bit of struggles here early on to start the year. 0-2-1 are those fighting Philadelphia Eagles. And, well, an early observation, quarterback play has not been good. Carson Wentz taking a little fire from those fans in Philly, but it was noted that this week that the head coach, Doug Peterson, is standing by his quarterback, has no mention of ever pulling Wentz out of the lineup as of right now. A lot of fans calling on for maybe Jalen Hurts to maybe take some, starter reps as well from Carson Wentz. But looking at overall, it's an early season struggle and a lot of inconsistencies on the offense, but hasn't been for lack of effort, just hasn't gone the Eagles' way. Absurd or approved, fans calling for Wentz's head.
Whew. And to think, I mean, this is how Philly is. And again, my Uncle Tom and my Aunt Dorothy can attest to this, and my cousins in Philadelphia as well. Once you start playing bad, they will call for your head, and they are. They want Jalen Hurts. Carson Wentz had a really good season in 2017 before he got hurt.
He did.
And I think we can't discredit the fact that he's got it in him. But he has to play better. He has to play better. Approved, go Cowboys. Oh, is Joe a Cowboys fan? Oh,
die-hard Cowboys fan.
Oh, is that so? So we have Joe and we have Court as Cowboys fans. So yeah, we got a couple. But again, they're doing okay. Yeah, but anyway, back to Carson. Carson Wentz, I think he has it in him, but, the Eagles have kind of been, it's not all him. I mean, yes, there's been some awful throws. I mean, Kirk's had some awful throws, too. But I don't know, it's been tough for me, but honestly, Voldy, I gotta say, I mean, it's got my stamp of approval, and I hate to do it because I do like Carson. Daniel, Cowboys fans are lost souls. There's so many.
Joe Clemens, put that on his gravestone.
Yeah,
lost
exactly. So, but again, I mean, the thing is they, all these high expectations and whatnot. But again, it's been. I mean, Michael Irvin's retired. Emmitt Smith's retired. Things like that. But anyway, we don't need to get into that. Well, yeah, it's got my stamp of approval. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Carson, I feel like he's had enough time to get it together. They lost to a team with no name, too. Think of that. Can confirm. But, yeah, that's the thing. So it's got my stamp of approval. Voldy, what do you think?
I've been kind of going back and forth on this one a little bit. I look at it for this way. back in 2017, yes, we know this was 3 years ago. Carson Wentz got hurt, blew out his leg, didn't play in the Super Bowl. Back up that year, Nick Foles. Everybody thought the season was lost. Nick Foles, 3 years prior, got the Eagles to the playoffs. What does he do? Leads them to a Super Bowl title. They put a freaking statue of him outside of Lincoln Financial Field.
Yeah.
How delusional is Philadelphia for putting a statue of Coach Doug Peterson and Nick Foles? Nick Foles doesn't even make it out of Jacksonville a whole year. Jacksonville, the second place where quarterbacks go to die if you're not named the Cleveland Browns. Another story on that another time. I look at it, look, it's not all Carson Wentz's fault. Is it a majority? Yes, because he's the quarterback. He's got to take the blame. He has got to fall on the axe on this one. He's had to make up a lot of the offense, especially a lot of the things I've been seeing. He has had to scramble for the life out of him. A lot of his offensive production has had to come with his legs because his line can't frickin' block to save his life. And that's why the bad throws, the interceptions, the incompletions as well. He's running around like it's Bismarck Central playing against, some other team, Joe Bag of Donuts High School in North Dakota. It's ridiculous. And, do I think it's fair that Philly is calling for his head? No, I think it's completely absurd. Just wait till they get that win, and they'll be like, oh, Carson Wentz, greatest quarterback ever. Oh, we're going back to the Super Bowl, all that stuff. That is how wishy-washy Philadelphia fans were already insane to begin with.
Big time.
Can confirm that.
Can confirm that. So does it give your stamp of approval that they should, bench Wentz or no?
No, they shouldn't bench him. Absolutely not. You're going to throw Jalen Hurts in there? Absolutely not. No.
Well, if the Philly fan, again, it's kind of one of those things. But what wide receivers do they have? What happened? Rieger's hurt. They lost Aguilar's gone.
Jalen Rieger's hurt.
Yeah.
Deshaun Jackson can't figure it out day to day, let alone week to week. So
exactly. So,
other than that, they got nothing. They got Dallas Goedert, tight end. Zach Ertz, another tight end.
Yeah.
That's it. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, Goddard's hurt.
Unless somebody else can tell us the receiver for the Eagles. Yeah.
So again, I guess we'll see, but yeah, Carson's got to figure it out, or else the boos are gonna come out and from Zoom calls and things like that. Yeah, but anyway, next one, Voldy.
Yeah, we go to college football here. I kind of bit down on my tooth, kind of weird there. My jaw got all weird there for a second. When I was ranting about Wentz. So latest college football poll came out a couple of days ago, back on Sunday, and we see the first appearances of Big Ten and Pac-12 teams, which aren't even scheduled to play for another month of the season, while teams are going into their third, maybe even fourth week of the year if you're in the SEC, ACC, and even the Big 12 as well. Is it absurd or approved? Teams that are ranked in the top 25 are ranked higher. Those teams that are ranked in the top 25 that haven't even played yet are ranked higher than teams that are a month into their college football season. Is that absurd or approved?
Oh, it's absurd. We haven't seen them play. That's the thing. You have to show it in order to, explain where you're at and everything like that. But it's hard to even tell, too. It's like, well, I'm looking at it right now, Voldy. Alabama, of course, Clemson's been playing. Penn State, it looks like we got stamps of approval from Joe. But yeah, you must be a Buckeye fan as well. And yeah, Wisconsin's in there. Yes, Dan, I'm with you. It's absurd. But the thing is that Oregon, I don't think played a game yet. Come on, let's see what happens before we make, the rankings here. It's absurd. I think it's absurd because, we haven't seen teams play. And I see Wisconsin in there. Michigan. Why is Michigan in there? I feel like the Gophers are, if Michigan's in there, why the hell aren't the Gophers in there? Rashad Bateman's coming back, baby. Let's go with the Gophers. They're our last hope, I feel like. But, again, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, it's just totally absurd why, they have all these teams. I mean, Penn State, for instance. But and, the Gophers beat Penn State. Just saying. All right, Daniel, you guys know I'm an Oregon fan, and they don't play until November. Absolutely absurd. So, yeah, Dan, we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's kind of one of those things where, it's the NCAA again. They don't know how to, work with rankings. So, yeah, it's absurd. So, Voldy, what do you think?
I always look at the top 25 poll leading into the start of the season. I don't even really look at the poll until about week 3 or 4 of the college football season.
Oh, sure.
I just think those preseason rankings are complete bunk. You can go off last year all you want. That doesn't matter. As soon as snap number 1, play number 1 of the 2020 season for all these teams, you haven't done diddly. You haven't done anything to prove yourself of a top 25 ranking. Yes, you see Clemson, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Notre Dame. Those top 5 teams, that's 5 now. It was 4 to begin with. Now it's 5. They've done something. Have they done it well? Sure, because they've done it. Now you throw in Ohio State, Penn State. You throw in, Oregon as well. They're in the top 15. They haven't done anything. If anything, they should be ranked 23, 24, 25 at the earliest is where they should be ranked as well. I don't like it whatsoever. It's completely absurd. Show me what you can do, then you can get into the top 25. Yes, we all know it's a marketing scheme. It's a marketing, it's money, it's business, it's all that stuff. At the end of the day, of course, it's all about the money. Somebody's making money off these guys. It's certainly not the players and the coaches. They haven't done anything. They haven't proven themselves yet. So I think it's completely absurd that the Big Ten and Pac-12 teams are in the top 25 when they haven't done anything except maybe show up for practice for the last couple of weeks.
Right. So, I mean, it's completely absurd. I mean, you can't just throw out rankings and say, well, I think we're just going to put, we're going to put Ohio State here. We're going to put, Oregon here. It's like, well, they haven't played. Like, let's wait until they actually play and then make the determination. But,
they're just throwing darts at a board, be like, okay, we got Ohio State and stuck. And they are, looks like, number 6. Okay, good spot for them right there.
Exactly. So, yeah.
Let's talk about the fact that Ohio State also got 4 first-place votes for the top 25.
I'm looking at it right now.
It's ridiculous.
What the hell?
It's ridiculous. Completely absurd.
Completely absurd. All right, last one, Voldy.
Yeah, we talk here, switching over to the National Hockey League as well. Of course, the Tampa Bay Lightning christened the newest Stanley Cup champions. We'll get to them here in Shield Shoutouts in just a little bit. But it was announced that going into the 2020-21 season, which could be starting in a matter of months here, that the NHL is not planning on having a bubble for the entire season of 2020-21. So all 31 teams, soon to be 32 going into next year with Seattle, we hope for good things with that, can do 4 or 6 months, something like that, according to Executive Director Donald Fair, saying that, this could be a very interesting route to go with. Executive Director Donald Fair and also, of course, Gary Bettman were quoted as saying that December 1st is the earliest start date possible for this upcoming season, quite possibly January 1 as well. Been hearing that number, that date as well, kind of floating around in the NHL circles as well. Is it absurd or approved that the NHL considering no bubble going into this next season?
It's tough because the reason why is, the bubbles worked very well, for one. I think that is they're exploring ways where they can figure out a full season and be able to have some fans and things like that. There's so much uncertainty, and we've talked about this at length with COVID and whatnot. But I feel like if it ain't broke, you don't have to fix it. As Case Keenum has said, with the Vikings. But, I mean, it's kind of one of those things where I feel like if you just stick with the bubble, but, listen to this, have some fans in attendance, wear masks, social distance, all that fun stuff, okay? But I mean, the players, I think, they're saying here too, I mean, it affects at least 50% of the revenues. So, I mean, having no fans, that's going to affect a lot of things. And but the thing is, if this, I don't even know if it's like a second wave or it's like a third wave or whatever it is at right now, because we're heading into winter season. We got to factor that in as well. But I feel like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think it may be a little absurd, but I think they got to find. There's financial reasons with this, but the thing is, you want to keep people safe, but it affects your revenue. So I mean, I don't think there's any way you can win in this situation. But if you want to keep people safe, then I think the bubble aspect, where they would do it, I don't know. Okay, but again, there's a lot of factors into this, but I don't know if I can even say it's absurd or approved. I mean, I just kind of put it as to be determined if it's absurd or approved.
Exactly.
So I think that's the best way to put it, so I'm kind of in the middle. So, Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, there's really no right or wrong answer, mostly because we don't know what's going to happen, let alone tomorrow, let alone in 3 months when they want to say that they want to start the season as well. I have no idea. I mean, honestly, you go back to everything as is, everybody's playing in their home arena. You go with regular travel and everything. That's going to be tough to play. I don't know if maybe they'd consider like the hub cities or something like that. They tried doing that. It ended up working really well for the playoffs. Edmonton and Toronto worked out fantastically. Not one positive COVID test. And, since they, at least for the last couple of months, and it worked out really well. Got through the Stanley Cup finals. They got a Stanley Cup champion in the COVID era. I mean, it's great to see that worked out so well when the league and the Players Association came together and just said, let's just get this back up and running, and it worked out really well. There really isn't. I mean, if they do, I extremely highly doubt that they'll finish or they'll start December 1st. I mean, January 1 is the date that I've been hearing a lot more. To what extent that will be, I have no idea. Let's also bring up the fact, too. This is another thing that affects Minnesota at the same time. January 1st, 2021, what's supposed to happen? The Winter Classic. Who's hosting the Winter Classic this year? Minnesota Wild. The 1 year the Wild are going to get it in the last 10, probably not going to happen. Amazing. The luck of Minnesota is just a dagger that just keeps growing and just keeps twisting deeper and deeper right in our spines till we just become heads on a stick when they finally cut our spinal cord. Overall, I can't really say either if it's absurd or approved, but it's just one of those. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe we'll be talking about this in 2 or 3 weeks when this supposed second wave comes rolling through, but we'll find out and we'll probably talk about it then. So right now, I can't really say if it's absurd or approved.
Yeah, I think we got to see what happens. And if they can get fans in there, great. As long as they're trying to make sure. I mean, with the NFL, with the the outbreak with the Titans and everything like that, they're doing everything that they can. And the thing is that we knew this would happen, okay? Because this is something that it's almost unavoidable. But it's as long as you take precautionary measures, you're doing what you're supposed to in testing, masks, social distance, things like that. But I think the bubble thing works. I hope they stick with that. But I think they might have to take a different approach. Is all I'm saying. With how they're gonna do the season and whatnot, but I'm pretty excited to see what happens with the NHL because it's gonna be interesting, especially with winter coming. I guess we'll have to see Voldy. So fingers crossed that they can work something out.
Yep.
So anyway, Voldy, I think that'll do it for absurd or approved. We got to get on to Shield shoutouts. You got a lot of good Shield shoutouts tonight.
We do.
And why don't we just get to it because it's Shield shoutouts.
Shield shoutouts.
Here we go, our knight in shining armor in for Shield shoutouts. Voldy, who you shouting out tonight?
Well, we start off, of course, we kind of talked about it with the last ARA story. The Tampa Bay Lightning, shield shout-out goes to them, winning the Stanley Cup Monday night with a 2-0 win over the Dallas Stars. Another wonderful performance from Andrei Vasilevsky for a shutout. And Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals, the Stanley Cup goes to Tampa Bay, which is going to be hosting actually a boat parade as opposed to the traditional parade, through downtown and everything. So that's a nice little twist there. Victor Hedman was also named the Conn Smythe Award winner for the playoff MVP. 10 goals in the postseason as well for him, 33 points in total. A fantastic performance by him overall, one of the stalwarts that's been in Tampa the longest out of any of those players, right next to Captain Steven Stamkos as well, who will have his name etched on the Stanley Cup. So big shield shout out to the Tampa Bay Lightning for capturing the Stanley Cup on Monday.
Yeah, I mean, I believe he wanted the Stars, right, Voldy, last year? Or last show? No, last year. I thought you.
Yeah, I mean, I was leaning a little bit towards the Stars a little bit, but I mean, the Tampa Bay Lightning have always been a thorn in the side of the Boston Bruins.
Yeah, that's right.
I've just learned to accept it, and hey, congrats as well. So, I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due on that one.
Sure. All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, this one comes at a very unfortunate time as well, especially with the way the events happened the last couple of days, but. We do, again, got to give credit where credit's due. Minnesota Twins winning the AL Central because they're a regular season team. They just want to play for that division title or to even get into the playoffs before, even thinking about, hey, let's go try to win a World Series.
Yeah.
Minnesota Twins AL Central champions once again. We've said our piece on that. Moving on to at least one of the bright spots in a very dark week for Minnesota sports. Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson scoring his first career touchdown versus the Tennessee Titans. Ended up with 175 yards receiving and his first career touchdown. Of course, doing it in style as well, celebrating before he even got into the end zone. But, I mean, when you can do it, you can do it, I guess. So it worked out well for him. If only they could have gotten the win. So, I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is. We'll have to see what happens. But Kubiak, I'm glad he unleashed Justin Jefferson. He was fantastic. And let's keep it going. Let's go into Houston. Let's kick some butt. Hopefully there's no positive test coming out of the Vikings practice for Thursday, Friday, into Saturday. So fingers crossed we're going to be okay. So, all right, next one, Voldy.
Well, we do have to wish a couple of fond players off into the sunset with retirements being announced this past week. For former Kansas City Royals outfielder Alex Gordon, who decided to hang them up after spending all his time with the Royals and being a Twins killer, World Series champion as well. San Francisco Giants outfielder, he also played with the Astros, played with Texas, the Rangers, and played with Philadelphia for a hot minute. Hunter Pence, one of the ugliest swings in Major League Baseball, but made it work for a multi-time All-Star, at least a two-time World Series champion as well with the Giants. Made it work, and both those players riding off after the regular season came to a close for them. And also, former Minnesota Wild player Chris Stewart announced this week that he is retiring as well. His short time in Minnesota was short, but very memorable as well. Of course, his sprint to and from the locker room onto the ice, the hashtag Stewie Sprint, was always a favorite. Even Jane Bow's favorite Minnesota Wild player, Chris Stewart. So we wish happy retirements to all three of those gentlemen, and best of luck in their future endeavors.
Go to Florida, do some fishing, do whatever you want, drink all the beer, drink all the alcohol you want.
Exactly.
I mean, enjoy your time, or find a different venture too. People do other things as well. So it's Chris Stewart. I love Chris Stewart. So good for him.
Well, Chris Stewart was great.
He was great. He was good. All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, this one came at the tail end of the regular season, which was only a few days ago, which regular season ended actually this past weekend. Los Angeles Angels infielder Elliot Soto made his debut over the weekend with the Angels at the tender age of 31 years old, a rookie. Wow. After playing 867 career games in the minors before this weekend when he got his cup of coffee with the Angels. And, of course, minor league season was not played due to COVID-19, but at least Elliot Soto hung on long enough to get into the major leagues after that much long of time. 31-year-old rookie getting his due, and maybe that'll be the piece that he needs. Maybe he'll be looking to compete for a spot next year.
Sure.
But a big Shield shout out to Elliott Soto for the Angels for finally getting his chance in the majors.
I mean, if you're working so hard in the minors and then finally, getting done, getting in the big leagues is kind of everyone's dream. So props to him. Absolutely. Stamp of approval all around. Applause everywhere. All that fun stuff. So next one, Voldy.
Well, if your name isn't Patrick Mahomes, you're probably having a terrible year. Patrick Mahomes is having the year of all years. Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP, gets his ring, gets his fiance a ring as well. His girlfriend, now a fiance with a ring. But then it was announced this past week that Patrick Mahomes and his fiance, Brittany Matthews, are expecting their first child. The year of Mahomes keeps on trucking right through after a big win, even on Monday Night Football against the Baltimore Ravens. Patrick Mahomes just keeps winning at life. Not to mention as well, $500 million contract extension, is now a part owner of the Kansas City Royals. You just can't stop the man on the field, off the field, any way whatsoever. Patrick Mahomes is the epitome of winning at life right now.
Well, the thing is, I think he's giving TFB a run for his money, Voldy. What do you think?
We'll see here.
Win a couple more
Put
Super
a few
Bowls.
more Super Bowl rings on. We'll see what happens.
That's what I figured you'd say. But congratulations to him and Brittany as well. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, man, stamp of approval. He's one heck of a player, one heck of a human being too. Super nice guy. So, yeah, stamp of approval all around. All right, last one, Voldy, I believe.
Yeah, last one this week for Shield shoutouts. Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban reaching out to one of his former players, Delonte West. It's been noted that he's been struggling with substance abuse, homelessness, even a little bit of mental illness as well. It was actually caught on camera this week that Mark Cuban actually helping out his former player and getting him checked into a rehab facility as well, help him get back out on his feet. And we wish the best and only the best for Delonte West, who was a former All-Star, former millionaire as well, obviously with the fact that he played in the NBA. And, Mark Cuban's the guy that you want, on your side, especially the fact that, he's a guy that's been there through thick and thin. And, Delonte West, he is a former Maverick, former Boston Celtic as well. And that's a guy you want on your team. And, Mark Cuban's got the resources. He knows the people that can get him help. And, this is the best way. Hopefully it all works out for Delonte West.
Yeah, that was, like I said, I mean, when I saw that video, my heart was broken. I mean, it is just sad to see, what he's been dealing with and homelessness and Mark Cuban going out of his way. I wasn't a huge fan of Mark Cuban, but now I am. I mean, he's a guy that definitely, when he saw, he goes, this guy needs help. And he went out and he did that. He found him and, obviously checked him into a rehab facility. And, it's something in 2020, there's been a lot of bad things that have been happening. But Mark Cuban going out there, oh my goodness, stamp of approval, no doubt about it. And he, hopefully Delonte gets the, treatment he needs. And obviously, I think Mark Cuban's going to be there to help him out too. So, absolutely. But is that going to do it for Shield Shoutout, Shield?
That's going to do it for Shield Shoutouts this week. Check out the flag.
Yes. Well, that's funny because speaking of the flag, DJ Matty C made an order for the MinneZona Sports Live just in the back here. Instead of the wild, flag I got right here and then maybe my golf clubs, which are right here as well. But, yeah, I know I can't really move it, but get back there. Okay, it's not working. Okay, there we go. Anyway, so, yeah, I mean, we're going to be having the MinneZona Sports flag back there. It's going to be fun. But we got to get to a couple other things, too. Zoners, we still have shirts. We have plenty of shirts. And here's the thing. If you buy a shirt, it helps us keep our show on the Facebooks, lives, the socials, medias, everything along those lines. So make sure you get your shirts and, help out your boys. Because, again, we got shirts. They're available. Jimbo will help you out. You talk to Shield. You talk to me. You talk to the Kerf doctor. Whatever you want to do, we'll get you set up. Bang.
Yes, sir.
So, also, Q&A Thursdays. Matty C is up this week for Q&A Thursdays on the Instas. So make sure you check out and, ask me whatever you want. And we'll chat about it. And, again, there's a lot to chat about. So, send in your questions. I'll answer them best I can, and we'll go from there. So, yeah, check out Q&A Thursdays on the Instas on our MinneZona Sports Live account. So make sure you check that out. Bring one up for me, Shield. Oh, Joe wants a shirt, so I think he's got to talk to you.
Yes, sir. We got one. Yeah. Got one ready for you, Joe.
Let's go. So anyway, yeah. So with the shirts too, $20, $5 shipping. So again, we'll work out something for you. And Double Trouble, I already talked to them about it, so they know they can figure that out. Also, W2 Performance, the Barbell Nerds podcast with Will Rattel. He's got a lot of content. Make sure you check him out. I mean, athletic performance is so key nowadays, and he's doing a great job. He's had so many guests on. He's so knowledgeable of athletic training and things like that. So, Will Rattel, we got to have him back on. He's got to tell us that Matt Ryan story again. So, I think the Zoners need to hear this.
Face to face too.
Yeah, exactly. So, we'll see. Maybe we get him on a Voldy's vlog. Who knows? So. We got options. But anyway, yeah, Zoners, thanks for tuning in. Again, it's been a tough week for Minnesota sports. We understand. A tough day, for instance. But, again, we've gone through this before. And, as Voldy's holding his Thor hammer as well, which is pretty sweet, by the way. We did that back in the day at SMSU, so looking pretty sweet. But anyway, Zoners, thank you for tuning in tonight for tonight's show. And I think we'll be back next week. I don't know. We'll see. We got options. But anyway, remember, as always, folks, keep in the zone.
Holla.
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.